blood will flow, and pleasure still our one.
This tunnel is really part of the entrance to Aspen, I believe, just like the roundabout, the Maroon Creek Bridge, and the bus lanes that were recently completed. It seems recently, but it was been years ago. But they're all examples of what it takes to make traffic more efficient and crossing State Highway 82 safer. And that's where this tunnel really came from back in the day when John McBride would bring designs on the back of a napkin on how to make crossing Highway 82 safer between the airport and the Aspen Airport Business Center. But today, I want to talk about kind of the nuts and bolts, and then we'll have some speeches from people that made this happen financially. You'll hear a lot about collaboration because this project took many organizations to complete and many professionals to put their mind and heart and sometimes their soul into the colors, which came out wonderful, I think, to make this a final product. The other thing I want to talk about just briefly is the Aspen Airport Business Center. We're completing a project there as well, which ties into this tunnel just beautifully, and I'd like to thank some people with regard to that as well. After we hear some speeches, G.R. Fielding, the county engineer, will do a walkthrough to talk about the design elements of this tunnel and what it took to complete it. So, starting in 2008 when we really started talking about funding this thing, and it took that many years to get the funding solidified and in place and to this final product. From there, it went to Parsons to design, RAFTA and Pitkin County, and the EOTC, including the City of Aspen, the Town of Snowmass Village, and Pitkin County, all collaborated to bring this together. Finally, Flatiron Construction made it happen on the ground, and SGM ensured that things were done to a quality fashion, that it would last a long time. But I have three people that I want to thank specifically because they are the nuts and bolts that made sure this thing was completed over the last year and a half. G.R. Fielding, the county engineer, Nick Sen with RAFTA, who's not here today, he's on a well-deserved vacation, and Ben Ludlow with SGM. I watched these guys work on a daily basis to solve problems, and there were many. Anytime you go on the ground, you're going to run into problems, and these guys made sure that it was completed as efficiently and as effectively as possible. Thank you. And on the AABC side, again, G.R. Fielding, the county engineer, and CEI Construction completed a well-deserved drainage project and infrastructure improvement project. They're just finishing that up this year, and hopefully it will be done soon. So thanks for coming and helping us celebrate. I really want to take some time to do that. I think this is a wonderful project, and I'd like to turn it over to Rob Ittner, the chair of the Board of County Commissioners, to say a few things.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'd like to start off by referring to a document that we refer to as Board of County Commissioners all the time, which is our strategic plan. Within that strategic plan, the guiding stream of that strategic plan is our community vision, and it's a very short, concise community vision that we worked on about 3 years ago when we redid our strategic plan. So I'd like to read that to start off. Our community vision here in Pitkin County will continue to be a healthy, safe, vibrant, and sustainable community, enhancing the quality of life for everyone who lives, works, and visits here, while conserving the natural environment as a basis for our community success. It really wraps up our decision-making process when we take on projects like this, and this was one of the biggest projects I think the county has taken on in a long, long time. But this project really will be here long after all of us will be here, and it will continue to meet the goals of that community vision statement that we've put together at the county. Quickly, I'd like to just thank some of the organizations that were involved, and Brian mentioned a lot of them, but they really all deserve, with the collaboration that was put together, a lot of thanks and for making this project be such a great success. The Roaring Fork Transit Authority, the CDOT, the EOTC with the City of Aspen, of course Pitkin County's part of that, and Snowmass, put funding towards this. The citizen groups that were involved, I think there were numerous meetings regarding the design of this, where it was going to be, how it was going to connect to RAFTA's, the new bus system. So I really want to thank all the community groups that were involved. SGM for their management and construction of the project. So I'd just like to do a good round of applause to all those that were involved. Thank you very much. I think next on, I'm not sure who's back to Brian.
Thanks, Rob. George Newman with the Board of County Commissioners is here. I'd like him to say a few things. George was instrumental in making sure this funding happened, and so the project could be completed.
Thanks, Brian. I became actively engaged in this project when a friend of mine's daughter was critically injured crossing Highway 82 one evening trying to catch a RAFTA bus coming from a CMC class. Ooh. From that, the quest began. Serving on the CDOT's Transportation Regional Committee, myself with staff members from the City of Aspen, the Town of Snowmass Village, and Pitkin County, were able to get this project on a funding list for CDOT. From there, we approached the ELTC, Pitkin County, approached the ELTC for some seed money. And we were given $250,000 to help design and engineer this structure. We quickly turned that $250,000 into a $1.5 million commitment from CDOT, which was critical. The only catch was those dollars were not going to become available to us till 2016. And that was going to be a problem not only for us, but for RAFTA, because RAFTA had to have their BRT stations put into place because they were restricted by their funds from the FTA. So trying to coordinate that was really critical. Myself, along with staff, continued to work with CDOT, and as some projects fell by the wayside, our project moved up the list. And in 2012, we got the go-ahead that money was available and we were able to begin. And so with that, we stand before us here with a great pedestrian-friendly, safe way now to cross Highway 82. It has the additional advantages of being able to keep traffic moving along the intersection now without having to stop for pedestrians. It has additional link to the BRT stations and a future vision for connection to a possible new airport terminal. So the vision started with a safety measure for all of us to be able to cross Highway 82. We've added that now to our successful BRT program and a future for an airport expansion. So thank you all.
And our partner in crime to get this thing completed, RAFTA, I'd like Dan Blankenship, please, to come up and say a few things.
Dan Blankenship.
Thanks, Brian. Jackie Whitsitt was planning to be here today to deliver a speech. She had a great one written, but she couldn't make it, so you're just going to get my speech instead. I want to thank everybody that was involved in this project, not necessarily by name, but just in general. I think we saw really an unprecedented amount of cooperation from a lot of jurisdictions and governmental agencies to make it happen. And it really, I mean, Brian was saying that the vision started happening in 2008, but it really started gathering momentum in 2010 after a young woman was injured trying to cross the highway. And George Newman became a champion, really, for the project. And bit by bit, we found the resources that were necessary to make it happen. When we got the infusion of faster funds, I think the commitment in 2012, like George was saying, things really accelerated, and the EOTC threw in about $2 million, a little bit more than $2 million, and the county partnered up with about $1 million in funding. And RAFTA was constructing its stations at the same time, so we joined the projects together, and RAFTA provided the project management. We had a great construction management firm with SGR that was overseeing the construction. We had a good contractor, Flatiron. And this was really a complicated deal. That we could get it constructed so rapidly and get it open and finished today is really remarkable. And we have a lot of people to thank for their time and their commitment to this project, without which we wouldn't be standing here today. You know, it's really important, I believe, when we have transit services like Velociraptor that are attracting enormous numbers of new riders, to provide safe access to and from the stations. We want people to use transit because it's good for the environment. It reduces energy consumption, reduces pollution, it reduces automobile congestion. But if they have to take their lives in their hands to get across the highway to do the right thing, it's not a good situation. So I am really, really pleased that we've got this project open for a lot of reasons. I mean, the airport's going to be redeveloping, and so the stations line up well with that. We have a lot of people that ride into town and down valley from the ABC, people that work down valley that work here. And one of the worst calls that you can get as somebody that works in the transit business is a call from somebody saying that somebody's been injured or worse trying to get across the highway to get to your bus stops. So this is a landmark project and a very important one, but there's still a couple more that we need to finish, and one is in Basalt and one is at Buttermilk. And I think with the team that we've assembled and all the partners and the success that we've had here, that we're going to get those done in the not too distant future. I thank you for your time, and again, I applaud everyone, the county staff, John Peacock and Brian Pettit and Jer Fielding, the RAFTA staff, Mike Herms, Nick Sin, and all the people from SGR and the other engineers, consultants, and the contractors, and our partner at CDOT, the folks that work in the region here to give us the permits and work with us on the highway bypasses and so forth. And then the funding that we got from FASTER, and I think Tom Mauser from CDOT is going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But thank you all very much.
Thank you. And before Tom Mauser with CDOT speaks, we hit a logjam with funding, and we went to the EOTC for help. And I just want to thank Mick Ireland, former mayor of Aspen, for breaking that logjam and helping the EOTC make the right decision to get this thing done now. So with that, I'd like Tom Mauser with CDOT, transit manager, to come up and say a few words.
Thanks, Brian. Again, my name is Tom Mauser, and I'm the Transit Programs Manager at CDOT headquarters. And really, it shouldn't be me who's speaking here today. It would normally have been Joe Elson, who is the resident engineer from the Glenwood Springs office, from the CDOT Region 3 office. But he and Pete Lombardi, who was the project engineer for this, unfortunately had to go to Denver today, which is sort of like having to go to solitary confinement. You know, whereas I got it made. You know, this is like a get out of jail free card for me to come up here to be here. So I'm really glad that you had me here. We do have one person, other person from CDOT here today, though. Where did there he is. There is Barry Anderson. He was the inspector on the project, so we're glad to have him here. It's great to be able to come out here and see one of the projects that we completed, that got completed with our FASTER funding. And not just seeing it on paper, because at first I saw it on paper. I remember reading the grant application and the description of this intersection, the problems you've had with it, and some of the accidents you've had. But unfortunately, we still had to say, well, have you done a formal study, a really formal study of the need for this project, of that intersection? and I recall him saying, no, but we have a little bit of information. Turns out that they pointed out that Mick Ireland and Brian, were common bicyclists who used that intersection a lot. We said, well, that certainly presents a clear and present danger. Forget the formal study. Don't need it. Don't need it. This is really a great success story. As one pointed out, it's multimodal. It brings together transit, pedestrian, and highway interest into one project. It's the result of an unprecedented degree of cooperation and partnering among CDOT, Pitkin County, RAFTA, FTA, Aspen, Snowmass Village. It's a great example of a number of partners agreeing to provide a mix of funding. We're glad that our $1.5 million in FASTER helped to leverage an additional $2.5 million in local funding for this project. But what I really want to point out to you too is when we've been hearing us mention FASTER funding. What is FASTER funding? First, I can't tell you what the acronym is. It's a really long one that, it's very contrived. But really what it is, if you look at your registration, your car registration, you will see on the fees, you will see a road fee and you will see a bridge fee. The FASTER funds go partly to safety projects, they go partly to bridge projects, and $15 million a year goes to transit projects. We put some of that money, we put $1.5 million of that $15 million into this project from the transit side. Because this is a transit project, it's also a pedestrian and bicycle project, it's also related to highways, but that's what made it such a great project, that it did bring all those things together. So thanks for having me here today, appreciate it.
We're going to wrap this up with a ribbon cutting, and then J.R. Fielding, the county engineer, would like to speak to you about the project and the elements that went into it, and maybe do a quick tour from the compass on the ground here to the tunnel itself. It really matches the picture